everyone, before we dive into today's story, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it right now where you are? I love seeing how many amazing people tune in from all over the world. If you enjoy these kinds of stories, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, tap the like to you, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Let's get into it. Serena Blackwood lay motionless in the hospital bed while machines whispered the rhythm of her breathing into the cold air. The room smelled faintly of disinfectant and quiet despair. Her eyes were closed, but her mind was wide awake. She could hear everything, every footstep, every breath, every word spoken near her. Marcus Blackwood stood beside her bed with his arms crossed, staring at her like she was already a memory. Lydia Crane leaned close to him, her hand resting lightly on his sleeve. They both wore black, not for mourning, for relief. "I never thought silence could feel so loud," Marcus said softly. "But now that she is finally gone, I can breathe again." Lydia smiled, the kind of smile that only appears when someone thinks they have won. "You deserve peace," she whispered. "You have carried so much weight for so long." Serena tried to move. Nothing happened. She tried to scream. No sound left her lips. Her body had betrayed her, but her mind was still alive. Marcus looked down at her pale face. "All those years she tried so hard to please everyone," he said with a small laugh. "Cooking, cleaning, running herself into the ground, and for what? Nobody even cared." Lydia tilted her head. "She thought being useful would make her loved," she said. "Some women never learn." They laughed, not loudly, but quietly and cruelly, the kind of laughter that cuts deeper than shouting ever could. Serena remembered every meal she cooked. Every late night she stayed awake just to make sure Marcus was comfortable. Every time she swallowed her pride just to keep peace in the house. Now she lay here listening to the people she loved plan her disappearance. "We should keep the funeral simple," Marcus said. "No need to waste money." Lydia nodded. "Something small and quick, just enough to get it over with." "Get it over with." Those words echoed inside Serena like a knife. A doctor had told them earlier that she was in a coma, not dead, that there was still a chance she could wake up. Marcus had waved it off. "Let's be realistic," he had said. "She is already gone." Serena heard that too. Inside her mind she was screaming, "I am here. I can hear you. I am still alive." But her lips did not move. They sat there talking about her like she was already buried, like her life was just an inconvenience finally removed. And as they planned her funeral beside her bed, Serena made one silent promise to herself. If she ever opened her eyes again, nothing would ever be the same. Before she became the woman lying in a hospital bed, Serena Blackwood was someone very different. She had not always been quiet. She had not always been small. There was a time when she walked into rooms with confidence, when people listened when she spoke, and when her name carried weight. But none of that mattered when she met Marcus. Marcus was charming in a simple way. He laughed easily. He told stories about his dreams. He made Serena feel needed instead of admired. And for a woman who had spent most of her life being valued for what she could do, that felt like love. So she chose a different life. Serena stepped away from boardrooms and contracts and meetings. She stopped letting her name open doors. She wanted to be a wife first, not a powerful woman. She wanted to be loved without money, without influence, without advantage. When she married Marcus, she moved into his modest house in San Diego. She cooked in a small kitchen, she folded his clothes, she made sure everything around him ran smoothly so he could chase his goals. At first he was grateful. He called her thoughtful, he called her kind. He told his friends how lucky he was. Then, slowly, that gratitude turned into expectation. If dinner was late, he frowned. If the house was not perfect, he complained. If Serena was tired, he acted annoyed. Her effort became invisible. Marcus' mother, Margaret, moved in not long after, and that was when things changed even more. Margaret watched Serena closely, judged everything she did. Nothing was ever good enough, not the food, not the cleaning, not the way Serena spoke or dressed. A good wife does more, Margaret would say. A good woman knows her place. Serena tried harder. She woke up earlier, stayed up later, took on more responsibility. She did it all quietly because she believed that love meant sacrifice. Marcus stopped thanking her, he stopped noticing her, but he kept taking. Serena paid bills, Serena fixed problems, Serena made sure everyone else was comfortable even when she was not. What no one knew was that Serena was not just a housewife. Long before Marcus, she had built companies. She had signed contracts that changed lives. She owned shares in businesses that decided who succeeded and who failed. But she kept it all hidden because she wanted to know something. Would someone love her when she had nothing to give but herself? Now as she lay trapped inside her own body listening to Marcus talk about her like she was already dead, Serena finally had her answer. Serena did not need to open her eyes to see the truth. She heard it. It came in pieces at first, a voice too soft, a laugh that did not belong to her husband, a tone Marcus only used when he thought no one else mattered. Lydia Crane began visiting the hospital more often than Serena's own family. She never looked at Serena, not really. She looked at Marcus. They stood close, too close for people who were just friends. One afternoon when the room was quiet, Marcus leaned toward Lydia and whispered something that made her smile. Serena could not hear the words, but she felt the intimacy in the silence that followed. Then one day she did hear. "We cannot keep living like this," Marcus said quietly. "We have been waiting long enough." Lydia replied without hesitation. "Once she is gone, we can finally be together, no more hiding." Serena's mind burned. They were talking about her. Margaret Blackwood joined them later that day. She stood at the foot of the bed like a judge. "The doctor says she might wake up," Marty said. "Right," Marcus replied. "That does not mean she will." "There is a 30-day policy," Margaret said. "After that, the family can decide." Decide. Serena screamed inside. Lydia crossed her arms. 30 days is not long," she said. "We have waited longer for less." Marcus nodded. "We cannot let this drag on forever." Margaret sighed. She was never strong enough for this family anyway. Serena felt something break inside her. They were not just betraying her, they were planning her end. The doctor tried to be careful when he spoke to them. He said Serena was in a coma, not dead. He said there was still hope. Marcus did not even look at him. "Let's be honest, doctor," he said. "She is already gone." Serena heard that sentence clearly. It was not a mistake. It was not said in anger. It was said like a decision. And that was the moment Serena stopped being just a victim. Because when someone decides you are already dead, they stop caring what happens to you. And Serena knew then that if she ever woke up, she would never forget what she heard in that room. Time stopped for Serena, but cruelty did not. Days passed in a strange, slow rhythm. Morning light crept through the hospital window, then faded into long nights filled with quiet machines and distant footsteps. Serena lay still through all of it. Her body did not move, but her mind never rested. She began to count the days. 1, 2, 3. Every day Marcus came. He never held her hand. He never whispered her name. He sat beside the bed like someone waiting for a problem to go away. "She was always so desperate," he said one afternoon, "always trying to impress my family. Like that would make her worth something." Lydia laughed softly. "Some women think suffering is love." Serena wanted to scream. She wanted to tell them that she worked because she believed in them, that she gave everything because she thought that was what love meant. But her body stayed silent. Margaret visited less often, but when she did, her words cut deeper than Marcus and Lydia combined. "She brought this on herself," Margaret said. "No woman should work that hard for people who do not need her." Serena counted another day. Nurses whispered outside the door. "They are already planning her funeral," one of them said. "It feels wrong." "Some people only show love when money is involved," another replied. Serena held on to that. On the 12th day, Lydia came dressed brightly like she was already celebrating. She looks peaceful, Lydia said, like she knows it is over. Marcus smiled. She is not waking up. Serena felt anger rise inside her chest, not fear, not sadness. Anger. She started remembering who she was. The meetings she once led. The companies she'd built. The power she chose to hide. She had stepped away from that world because she wanted love. She wanted to know if someone would choose her without knowing what she could give them. Now she had her answer. On the 18th day, she made a promise to herself. I will not die here. On the 21st day, her finger moved. A nurse froze. Doctors rushed in, machines beeped faster, hope slipped into the room quietly. On the 24th day, her eyes opened for a few seconds. The doctor smiled. She is coming back, he said. That night, Serena whispered with dry lips. Do not tell them yet. The doctor hesitated, then nodded. Serena kept listening. Marcus still laughed. Lydia still planned. Margaret still waited. They were counting days until she was gone. Serena was counting heartbeats. And she was not done yet. On the 26th day, Serena woke fully. The first thing she felt was pain. It rushed through her body like fire in every muscle. Her chest burned as she tried to breathe on her own. The machines around her beeped softly, but for the first time she was not trapped inside silence. Her eyes opened slowly. The ceiling above her blurred, then came into focus. A doctor stood beside her bed, frozen in disbelief. You are awake, he whispered. Serena tried to speak. Her throat felt like sand, her lips trembled. Yes, she said. Tears rolled down the sides of her face, not from weakness but from relief. She remembered everything, every word, every laugh, every plan. Please, she said after a long pause, do not tell anyone. The doctor frowned. Your family thinks you are still in a coma. I know, Serena said quietly. That is why I am asking. He studied her for a moment, then nodded. The next 2 days were a quiet battle. She learned how to sit up again, how to stand without falling, how to take steps without screaming. Every movement hurt, but she welcomed the pain. It reminded her she was alive. At night when the hospital went quiet, her memories came back louder. Marcus laughing. Lydia planning her funeral. Margaret waiting for her to disappear. Serena did not cry. On the 28th day, she left the hospital with a small bag and a steady heart. She stood outside the house she had once cleaned, the house she had served, the house that had broken her. Music spilled from inside, laughter, voices. They were preparing for her funeral. Serena took a slow breath. Then she walked forward. The house was full of noise. Chairs filled the yard. People in dark clothes moved back and forth. Music played softly from a speaker near the door. It felt less like a funeral and more like a gathering, waiting for something to be over. Marcus Blackwood stood in the middle of it all, giving orders with confidence. Move those chairs closer, he said. People will come early. Lydia Crane walked through the house like it already belonged to her. She laughed with guests. She pointed at decorations. She spoke like a woman who had already won. She would have liked this, Lydia said casually. Simple and cheap, just like her life. They laughed. Serena stood at the gate, watching everything. Every laugh cut her. Every smile reminded her of the hospital room where they had celebrated her death. She stepped inside. Someone screamed. The entire yard froze. Marcus turned first. His face went pale. His mouth open, but no sound came out. Lydia stared like she was seeing a ghost. Margaret dropped the cup in her hand. It shattered on the ground. You are supposed to be dead, Marcus whispered. Serena looked around calmly. At the chairs, the decorations, her own funeral. You planned all this for me? She said quietly. Marcus stepped back. This is not real, he muttered. Lydia found her voice. Get her out of here, she snapped. Serena did not move. I heard all of you, she said. Every word, every laugh, every plan. Silence fell over the yard. Marcus swallowed hard. That is impossible. Serena reached into her bag slowly. She took out her phone. Proceed with the plan, she said calmly. Marcus' phone rang. He answered it with a forced smile that quickly disappeared. What do you mean terminated? He shouted. This has to be a mistake. Another call. Then another. Emails filled his screen. Access revoked. Contracts cancelled. Position terminated. Marcus' hands began to shake. Margaret grabbed his arm. What is happening? Marcus looked at Serena with fear in his eyes. I have been fired, he whispered. The yard filled with gasps. Lydia's eyes narrowed. Fired, she repeated. How? Serena took one step forward. You buried the wrong woman. Marcus stared at Serena like she was no longer human. What did you do? He whispered. How is this happening? Serena straightened her back. Her voice was calm but carried more power than any shout. You thought I was weak, she said. You thought I was nothing. That was your biggest mistake. She lifted her phone slightly. Own the companies that control your career. I own the banks that approve your loans. I own the contracts that decide who gets hired and who gets ignored. Marcus shook his head. You are lying. Serena tapped the screen. Documents appeared. Names, signatures, proof. I chose a simple life because I wanted to be loved for who I am, not for what I have, she said. I wanted to know if someone would stay when there was nothing to gain. Her eyes locked on Marcus. What I found was cruelty. She took another step forward. I heard you celebrate my death. I heard you plan my burial while my heart was still beating. Marcus' lips trembled. I did not know. You knew, Serena said quietly. You just did not care. She raised her phone again. From this moment on, no company connected to me will hire you. No partner will touch your name. No bank will trust you. Marcus fell to his knees. Margaret cried out, You cannot do this. Serena looked at her. You taught him how to treat me, she said. Lydia stepped back slowly. So you are rich, she said. Serena did not answer her. Marcus' voice broke. Please forgive me. Serena did not move. You buried me while I was still breathing, she said. And now you will live knowing that the woman you tried to erase is the one who closed every door you will ever knock on. Lydia looked at Marcus with new eyes. All this time, she said slowly, you told me you had money. Marcus said nothing. You told me you were secure, she continued. You told me you were powerful. Still nothing. Lydia laughed bitterly. So you have nothing now. She picked up her bag. Stayed because of your future, she said, not because of you. Then she walked away without looking back. Marcus watched her leave like something inside him had finally shattered. Margaret rushed towards Serena crying. We were wrong, she said. Please do not do this. Serena did not raise her voice. You planned my funeral while I was still alive, she replied. Marcus crawled forward. I loved you, he sobbed. Serena looked at him. Love does not sound like laughter beside a hospital bed. The yard was silent. Marcus sat on the ground shaking. His world had collapsed in front of everyone. Serena turned away from him. I am done, she said quietly. She walked past the chairs, past the decorations, past the people who had come to bury her. No one followed. No one spoke. The only sound left was the echo of everything Marcus had lost. Months passed and the world moved on. Serena Blackwood did not return to the life she had left behind. She did not go back to that house. She did not look for closure from people who had already shown her who they were. She traveled. She worked. She lived on her own terms. Her companies grew stronger. Her name carried weight again, not because she demanded respect, but because she had earned it. Marcus Blackwood became a story people whispered about. No company would hire him, no partner would trust him, friends disappeared, doors closed. Margaret moved away quietly, the house was sold. Serena never reached out. She did not need revenge anymore. She had the truth. And the truth was that the people who celebrate your fall are the same ones who fear your rise. Some people only show you who they are when they think you have no power left. When they believe you are weak. When they think you cannot fight back. That is when their true character appears. Serena Blackwood was never powerless. She only chose silence because she wanted love, not fear. But when people mistook her kindness for weakness, they revealed something far more important. They revealed who they really were. If this story moved you, take a moment to like and share it so others can find it too. Let me know in the comments where you are watching from and what part of Serena's story stayed with you the most. More powerful stories are coming. Do not miss them.